Jamaica became a party to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species on Wild Fauna and Flora, otherwise called CITES, in July 1997. CITES is an international agreement between governments. Its aim is to ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. The United Nations designated March 3 as World Wildlife Day. The Endangered Species Protection, Conservation and Regulation of Trade Act 2000 and regulations provide for the conservation, protection and regulation of trade in endangered species in Jamaica. The Wildlife Protection Act also makes provisions for the protection of some animals. Wildlife trade refers to the export, import, or re-export and introduction from the sea and domestic trade in wild species of animals and plants. Each year, CITES focuses on a theme to increase public awareness. 2021's theme is Forest and Livelihoods, Sustaining People and Planning. This feature will highlight some of the government entities who work to protect wildlife through the Endangered Species Protection, Conservation and Regulation of Trade Act. Let's learn more about CITES in Jamaica. Jamaica has a management authority and scientific authority for CITES, coordinated by National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA. The scientific authority advises the Natural Resources Conservation Authority, NRCA, and monitors the granting of CITES permits, certificates, and the actual export of specimens. Plants regulated by CITES in Jamaica include orchids, lignum vitae, cycads, Spanish cedar, Swintinia mahogany, and cacti such as Discotatus species. Section 19 of the Endangered Species Protection, Conservation and Regulation of Trade Act 2000 states that every person who proposes to trade in any specimen of species specified in the first, second, third, or fourth schedule shall apply to the Management Authority for the appropriate permit or certificate by the NRCA. Let's hear from some of our partners, starting with the Forestry Department, as they explore the relationship between forest and sustainable livelihoods.
My connection to the forest is deeply rooted.
The forest means everything. It means life. It means existence.
Forests in Jamaica breathe life into an interconnected community of plants, animals, and other organisms. Covering 40% of the island, they form the backbone of the country. From the mountaintop to our shoreline, different types can be identified, including primary forests, untouched in their original state. The most biologically diverse ecosystems on Earth. There are also other broadleaf forests that have been affected by human interaction. Tall and short, open dry forests. Swamps and mangroves growing in a combination of fresh and salt water. All these forests nurture a wealth of endemic flora and fauna. They provide a nursery ground and habitat for fish, shellfish, and other species, as well as a refuge for marine animals. Jamaican mangroves present ecotourism opportunities and support local livelihoods.
The mangrove, it's where the fish them breed. Them hide in night, grow in night. No other predator can come and catch it. We have to protect it. Protect the fish that we can catch and make our money.
Mangrove forests are among the most carbon-rich ecosystems globally and play a critical role in the fight against climate change.
Mangrove forests can actually capture and retain and hold for an indefinite period the most carbon per unit of forest and prevent that carbon from causing harmful effects in our climate.
Jamaican mangroves are hardy and resilient, but are under threat from urban area expansion, industrial development, and other human activities.
Here is the role of the Plant Quarantine, Produce and Inspection Branch of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries.
The Plant Quarantine Branch of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries is Jamaica's first line of defense against the introduction of exotic plant pests into Jamaica. The Plant Quarantine Branch is mandated to ensure that only the highest quality pest-free agricultural produce are exported from or imported into Jamaica. The branch partners with NEPA to ensure that the requirements of the CITES Convention are met through its import and export processes. All endangered or protected plant species must be accompanied by a CITES certificate. If you wish to import or export an endangered or protected plant species, please contact the branch at 977-0637 or 940-4146 for further information.
And now, the Tourism Product Development Company, another partner for CITES in Jamaica.
The Tourism Product Development Company Limited, TPDCO, Craft Development Unit, works with craft traders, producers, artisans, and various community groups to develop new product lines and new designs to create diverse quality items to meet market needs. In our skills training programs, TPDCO has always promoted environmental sustainability. For example, trees which have already been cut or have died would be identified for carving. Materials for basketry would consider environmental best practices. We encourage production of craft items created from natural products such as stones, coconut shells, and recyclables. TPDCO ensures that endangered species such as turtles, conch, black and white corals are never used in the production of craft items.
Here's the Social Development Commission and their work in facilitating economic, social, and cultural livelihoods in communities.
The Social Development Commission leads the charge for community development in Jamaica. This is done through an integrated community development strategy. This dictates sustained and coordinated partnerships to include working with community-based organizations not limited to community development committees, CDCs, but working with other ministries, departments, agencies, international development partners, and non-governmental organizations. As the principal organization working with Jamaica's 775 communities, the SDC is positioned in the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. SDC promotes the advancement of sports, social, cultural, and economic development for the people of Jamaica. 3 of the 6 programs which directly benefits wildlife protection and CITES is providing information through Community Research and Development Planning Program, CRDP, which produce and update data and information that are needed for local and national planning. The Parish Interagency Network Program, which seeks to improve the quality of service delivered to residents through effective and efficient collaboration among service providers in all parishes and strengthening of the participatory governance framework. SPGF, which works towards increasing participation in local governance by establishing and building the capacity of community organizations to participate in advocacy and decision-making at all levels.
Jamaica Customs Agency representatives speaks to their work with CITES at our island's borders.
Effective implementation and enforcement of the Convention depend largely on control over the issuance, inspection, and acceptance of CITES documentation by the Management Authority and Customs. Customs officers are responsible for the inspection and certification of CITES export permit, re-export certificate, other certificate, and import permit. Under Section 11(2) of the Endangered Species Act, the Commissioner of Customs is also required to forward a copy of every permit or certificate to the Management Authority, the NRCA. Officers are also required to ensure that environmental permits required for the introduction of species of flora, fauna, genetic material, and genetically modified organisms are presented at the port of import. Customs officers are mandated to check for false compartments containing endangered specimens, documents which are fraudulent or incomplete, that is, missing validity date, security stamp, and signature, and smuggling of specimens by the Postal Service. The most common types of CITES fraud are physical concealment, postal smuggling, concealment on board vehicles and in containers, false compartments and document fraud, that is, falsification of CITES permits or certificates.
There you have it. All these organizations and the scientific authority help Jamaica to be compliant to the CITES as it relates to plants. Our vision is that Jamaica's wildlife and habitats are protected and a system is in place that ensures sustainable use and the regulation of trade in wildlife. For more information on this or any other NEPA feature, contact the National Environment and Planning Agency at 876-754-7540 or email us at pubed@nepa.gov.jm. Visit us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram using the social media handle NEPA Jamaica. Visit our website www.nepa.gov.jm for our products and services.